What is up, guys? Lord Nick here, bringing you another episode of the Dangerous Game Podcast, episode 15, I believe. I am going to apologize for there being over a month-long hiatus since the last time I made a video. I didn't intend my hiatus to be that long. I thought it was going to be maybe a week or two. Quite a few personal things started happening, and it really kind of prevented me from being able to do videos. Part of it was a terrible run-in with my work. While it allocated a lot of free time, a lot of my free time was spent trying to find another job and trying to work through issues at work. And unfortunately, that job fell through, and I found a new job. And so, upside is that that new job is going to allow me to work night shifts, which should allocate a lot more time during the day for me to be able to stream and make videos. So hopefully that means I will not be lazy and actually get back into everything. Anyhow, for this actual episode of the podcast, the parts that everybody actually cares about, if they actually care about it, I want to talk about the Good Luck at Worlds video that Riot released about 7 hours ago as of the 27th, or 26th, my mistake, and what that allows us to see what will be happening next year that they hadn't mentioned yet. And some news for a franchise known as Echo Fox, as a lot of people had kind of been speculating, and there hadn't been too much news and hype coming up around what had happened to them. And I think we finally got our answer. And then also, we will be talking about Clutch Gaming, because of course we will. There's a big reason that there's this giant LCS stage as my background today, and not the standard banner background that I'd been doing with all my favorite champions. The reason it's on there is because Clutch Gaming made a historic run a couple weeks ago, and I am super hyped about it. I was super hyped about it then, but I didn't have the time that I needed to be able to sit down and make videos about it, so we'll be touching up on that the entire rest of the video. But to get started, guys, let's talk about Good Luck at Worlds. And this video was posted about 7 hours ago as of the making of this video. And it's 43 seconds long, which means that we wouldn't get that much information from it, except it gave us a ton of information about something I was not anticipating. So, of course, it says Good Luck at Worlds to Team Liquid, Cloud9, and Clutch Gaming, and shows their historic moments of when each of those teams get to go to the world stage. Team Liquid winning 2 championships, Cloud9 being runner-up, and then Clutch Gaming making their historic run through the brackets, through the gauntlet to make it to Worlds. It was so amazing. Anyhow, in this video, it also shows every other LCS team that will be there as of the 2020 season. So as of the 2020 season, teams that we will be seeing will be, of course, the 3 aforementioned teams, but one of them being replaced by Dignitas, which was Clutch Gaming, which is not a big surprise. This entire last split was them wearing Dig colors and Dignitas being very involved. It's very good. I'm very happy for it. Didn't used to be a huge Dig fan, and I'm going to be a Dig fan because of how they've treated the players that I really love, how they've treated the fans of the org, and how amazing they've been for those people. All in all, I'm going to continue being a huge fan of these players and of this team. Anyhow, next up were some of the teams that we knew would be there. FlyQuest, CLG, TSM. There were 100 Thieves, but there were 2 specific teams that I don't think any of us saw coming. One of those was Immortals, which is replacing Optic Gaming. And for any of you that didn't know this, this is something that I knew only because I'm a pretty big follower of Counter-Strike Go. But Optic had sold a lot. Its team spot in sold majority of its stock of the company to Immortals a while back, allowing them to get a foothold back in CS:GO. They were going to build their own team, which they were already doing, which meant that they had to, cannibalize the Optic team, which was a big, oh my god, in CSGO. Well, noteworthy thing is that Hector left Optic and sold all of his rights to them, so Immortals now has them. So now that Immortals owns Optic, they're rebranding anything that they didn't have a foothold in into Immortals. So, even though the Overwatch League, they will still be the Houston Outlaws, they will be owned by Immortals, not Optic. Likewise, the CSGO team gets to cannibalize and take any players they want if they wanted other players. And then in the LCS, they are obviously rebranding to Immortals, which is a very interesting thing, as Immortals had previously been barred from getting a team. They now meet a lot of the requirements, and that was a big focus of theirs, was to get back into the LCS, which is really cool to see them back. Next up, though, was the fact that we get to see Evil Geniuses return to the LCS stage. They are taking over what was the Echo Fox slot. And this took me a moment to realize what was happening there. Because I knew about the Immortals thing immediately. Like, as soon as I saw Immortals, I was like, oh, cool. So they've rebranded Optic to Immortals. So then I saw Evil Geniuses, and I was like, oh my god, EG got the Echo Fox slot. And I looked it up, and sure enough, Riot is selling that slot to Evil Geniuses. Which makes me really sad, right? Because, we are losing Rick Fox. He was such a historically uh, amazing individual in the scene. He really helped push esports to be taken seriously, or more seriously than they had been in years. And, I guess, yes, there are still issues with it not being taken seriously, but he was a big advocate for it, and he still wants to be a big advocate for it. He still loves the game of League of Legends. He still loves the community. And hopefully that means he'll still be a part of the community in some other ways. Maybe Riot can work out ways of having him be an ambassador through Riot Games themselves, so that he doesn't have to worry about the terribleness of investors like the ones that Echo Fox had faced in the past. I'm not going to get into that. Everybody should know the story by now, and if you don't, you can go look it up other means. There's people that will tell the story much better than I will, that have much more much more closely tied to first-hand sources than I am. Anyhow, it's really interesting to see Evil Geniuses be the ones to pick up the slot. This is not a team that I thought I would see back at any point. But based off of these teams that I'm seeing, outside of the Immortals there, we have Evil Geniuses, we have Dignitas, we have TSM, we have Counter Logic Gaming, Team Liquid, who used to be Team Curse. If only we could just get, the Team Curse look back, that'd be hilarious. But anyhow, that's 5 of really old League teams. These were teams I iconically saw as League of Legends teams back when I first got into watching League. Almost 9 years ago. Not quite 9 years ago. I think it was about 8 years ago was the last time I really paid attention to Evil Geniuses and all of those teams. But EG has been out of League for over 5 years now. So this is their big historic comeback, is picking up this Echo Fox slot. Now, the question is if they keep the Echo Fox team. That we do not know. I guess a lot of people who are big fans of those players are, of course, hoping for that. I really like quite a few of those players, but you can obviously tell that they had a very, very rough summer split, and they need to be worked on. So, if we're looking at it from here on out, I feel like it's just going to be a very interesting split, because a lot of things can happen with a lot of new organizations. These are very, Evil Geniuses is a very long-running organization. Immortals is a pretty decent length org. I think they're about 5 years old now. So, both of them have some amazing potential in the LCS and can bring a lot of really new, interesting perspectives. I know Immortals really is a player-focused org, or has been in the past. The last time that they were in League, they were very much focused about making sure that their players were paid well, had all the facilities potential to make them good. So it could be that they are taking what is Optic and just adding on to these players and giving them that chance that they need to become that top 3 team that they could have been. Optic was very close to being a potential contender, but they just kept having some faults in it. It could have been from the management of Optic. Optic had always been a brand about individuals being able to sell themselves via streaming and or YouTube videos, and they're always focused on that. So maybe taking somebody like Immortal, who focuses on player development and player unity and cohesion, can help this team that has the raw talent and potential to be there fight even closer for that position and make the LCS even more tight than it was this last split. Anyhow, moving away from these new developments, and Evil Geniuses being an old fabled org, they may have not had too much success in League, but they've had major success in other games like Dota and other competitive games. And so we will see how these teams will start doing in the LCS, and it could make for an even more amazing LCS season than this last. I feel like this last year of LCS has been the best it's been in a long time. It's been amazingly fun to watch. I've been super addicted to watching it, even though I used to just watch the LEC all the time. Now I'm watching the LCS and really hoping to see really good games. Let's talk about Clutch Gaming now. Speaking of things that have made me very excited about the LCS game, we have Clutch Gaming. And it is no secret that I'm a massive, massive fan of Clutch Gaming. And the big reason I'd become a fan of this team is I was always a guy rooting for the underdogs. So in their first split last year, I was voting for them. Also, they were a Texas team. I was like, I don't usually vote for Texas teams, even though I live in Texas and have lived in Texas most of my life. I never really vote for them. I voted for them this time around because I thought they seemed kind of neat, and I really like Sebastian Park, and so I was like, all right, cool, and so I went for the team. This year started off with an atrocious spring split, and it really didn't look like it could go up from there. But I was ever the optimist, which I'm usually not. At the end of last split, I said, "Hey guys, look, think about it this way: we are so freaking trash right now. Our only way to go is up." And boy, was I wrong at the first game or two of the split, man. It was, oh god, that was hard to watch. But after that point, after those first two games, man, how amazingly happy I was that I felt like this was going to be our split. Like, I watched those first two games, I was like, man, we lost those games by stupid decision making. Not like that we couldn't have won those games. Both of those games were close enough that we could have won those first two games, and we didn't. The team made some stupid choices, and I was like, man, are they just going to keep repeating mistakes that they made last split? Then they went 1-1. Going that 1-1 first, and I was like, all right, this is our split. And my friends and people that I talked to were like, what the hell are you talking about? They're 1-3. Like, they're not making it. And then they became like 50-50 in record. I was like, they're 500 guys. They can do this. They can do it. They got this. And people were like, what are you talking about? They're not doing this. They're not making it. And then they started doing really well. And, they had this amazing split, from my opinion. And people are like, they're not doing anything. Like, they're barely even, showing up. And then they get into playoffs, and people are like, oh, they're lucky to get to playoffs. And then they beat TSM 3-1, and people are like, oh, you know what, TSM's not that good anyways. And they're doing all these switcheroos or whatever. And then they lose. And then they're like, see, they lost. They're in the third place, fourth place match. They're not that good. Though they took TL to 5 games. They're like, oh, they're not that good. It's obviously they're not that good. It's like, whatever. So they go in there and they take CLG to 5 games and they lose, and it's like, oh god, this isn't good. Like, this isn't good. Obviously, like, we're not doing well by the standards of other people. They're like, see, they're 4th place at best. They're not that great. So it goes to Gauntlet. And my thought is, all right, so if they can beat CLG and Gauntlet, because FlyQuest wasn't even a contender in my mind. FlyQuest is like, oh yeah, we get to play in the Gauntlet, and so FlyQuest is playing in the Gauntlet versus Clutch in the first round. Didn't matter. Clutch dominated them. Nobody cared. FlyQuest was not a contender in my mind. Sorry, FlyQuest. I love some of your players, but you guys sucked this last split. You weren't a contender. You look at Clutch at that point, and it's like, all right, they're against CLG again, and people were counting them out. They're like, CLG is just gonna do what they did during the 4th place match. They're just gonna beat them. Clutch goes up early, is winning, and then they lose one, and people are like, oh no, it's gonna happen again. They're gonna get reverse swept, aren't they? And then the next game, they just crushed it and won. And I was like, all right. As soon as they went 3-1, that last game started, and they started winning, I was like, this is it. Clutch is going to Worlds. And my friends are like, what are you talking about? They still have to beat TSM. And I was like, TSM is trash. Don't worry about it. They abandoned Acadian, who's this amazingly talented jungler who's shown that he can do real well with the right support from the team. And last split took him into actual playoffs and was doing amazing. And then they abandoned him, and they abandoned Grig, and they put in Spica, whatever his name is, and it's just like, screw TSM. I'm done with that org. I don't respect the org anymore. I think that they're way past their prime. Anyhow, and I'm talking all this mad crap, and my friends are like, "Oh my God, you're full of it. You're full of it. There's no way Clutch is gonna win this." Clutch takes it in 3-1, and they're like, how did Clutch win this? And I was like, because Clutch is good. I'd been harping on this. I was like, Lyra is a godsend. As much crap as I gave him last split for having a bad split, it was a bad split, and I felt like there was communication problems with the team. And as soon as they announced Cody Sun, I knew it. I knew it for a fact. I was like, this team's going to have much better communication in this split. My friend's like, why? They just went from 3 Korean speakers to 2. And I was like, yeah, but one of those Korean speakers has had a history of screwing up team communications, be it the fact that his way of not being toxic was not talking, or he was just a toxic player in the past. And there's so many people that would harp about, my anti-Pigletism. But, like, I knew it. I was like, you put in Cody Sun, this guy has been notorious for being the exact opposite of that, of never shutting the hell up sometimes about the things that he feels people need to improve on, to the point that it was considered toxic. I was like, that is what this team needs. This team needs a resounding voice. They only had Damonte, who was really speaking. They only had Vulcan that were really speaking, and the two of them were still relatively new. Vulcan was in his first year. Damonte was in his first year as a starter. Like, you can't rely on these two guys to be your only voices. You needed somebody with some type of actual, like, veteranship. And Cody Sun's been around for a while. Like, he's been around for 3-4 years now. Like, that's a guy that has the potential for it. And guess what? The team starts doing well. And of course, there's some coaching changes. There's some staff changes that definitely helped with this. But I feel like they really improved on team communication, cohesion, and teamwork, which allowed each of the other individual players to start performing to a level that they hadn't been at in a while. Lyra is back in form to the point that it looks like he's TDK Lyra again. Like, back when people were saying, man, he has potential to be one of the best junglers in North America. Lyra definitely seems it. Huni is almost back to the point that he is the dominating top laner from Immortals. Now, note, he's still playing Lucian and trolling, but, like, I mean, you can accept that. Like, that's not something we can't tolerate every now and then. Please don't play it at Worlds. But, we are back in form. We're, seeing Damonte be able to play Kiana as one of the best Kianas in North America, potentially one of the best in the world. Not the best, I would say. There's probably somebody that's better than him, but God, he's getting there. He's showing them. He's showing them that NA amazing talent. And then you have, Cody Sun and Vulcan being this rock of a bot lane, dude. Like, they're not losing their lane. They're not always winning their lane, but they are never losing their lane. Going even is allowing the team to just do crazy, amazingly aggressive crap that's so fun to watch. And it's so awesome to get behind. And, like, this entire hype train is just amping up and just keeps going and going and going. It's so amazing to feel this way about a team. I haven't felt this way about a team since Vulcan, guys. Like, at least North American wise. Vulcan. FYI, Team Vulcan was around back in Season 3. They made it to one Worlds, and then that was it. That's all they did. They made it to one Worlds. The next split, they were garbage. Their top laner retired. Xmithie had to take a break for elo boosting because, that was a thing. Yeah, for anybody that doesn't remember Xmithie from back then, he was on a team that made Worlds in his first split. Freaking phenomenal. They were this team that came out of nowhere and made it to Worlds and terrified people, and everybody in the interviews was like, "Oh, who are you the most afraid of?" And they're like, "Vulcan." And they're like, "Why Vulcan?" It's like, we don't know what these guys are gonna do. Like, these guys came out of nowhere. These were a dark horse out of nowhere and made it to Worlds from NA, and people were just like, "Yeah, we don't know how to trust these guys." They did nothing, mind you. They didn't do jack crap at Worlds, but they still were there, and, like, it was an impressive run, and I was, like, one of 3 Vulcan fans in the entire world, so it was one of those moments that we were just like, you know what, we will always remember that team when Xmithie got caught for elo boosting and had to get kicked off the team. That didn't happen the immediate next split, but, like, the split after that, I think, is when he had to take a step back because of that. Anyhow, I'll digress back to the actual point of Clutch Gaming and the fact that I'm super hyped. I haven't felt this hype for a team since about that point, like, in North America at least. I've never found a team that has done to that success, because all the teams, like I said, I go for underdogs. All of my favorite teams get relegated. I went for let's see, Enemy, Complexity, Renegades, God, who are the other ones? TDK. Like, I went for a lot of teams that didn't make anywhere near a mark on the LCS. Like, very few of them even stuck around for more than one split. And it is because I was just a fan of underdogs and new contenders, and always these, underrated players were people that I really liked to watch play. And then, some of them unfortunately just didn't actually have the skill and jobs to keep out. But, like, I always had feeling that Clutch could do it. As an org and as the players from last split, I was like, I feel like these guys have the chance. They were not so outperformed that they couldn't do it. I just felt that they weren't given the opportunities that they needed to do it. So it was really beautiful to see the org step up around their players, support these players, grow with these players, and make them go to Worlds and get them to Worlds. You know, you can put it all on the players, but the org definitely, Dignitas definitely made that impact that allowed these guys to flip that switch in their mentality and realize their amazing potential as players. And it's so awesome to watch it. Watching Lyra cry as they made it to Worlds was one of the most heartwarming and heartfelt moments I have had in any esports that I've ever watched. You know, I've watched CS:GO when Cloud9 won the first major for NA. That was phenomenal and heartwarming. To watch Astralis become one of the most dominative teams ever, to watch Team Liquid become the next dominating team, like it is so many moments that I have watched that are amazingly heartstring moments. But that particular moment, Lyra breaking down as he finally has made it to Worlds after all these years of sticking in NA and trying his best to prove that he is a world-class jungler, and he has made it. That was the moment that I have realized I am at pinnacle attachment to League of Legends in North American scene. And it is an amazing feeling, and I hope this feeling continues into next split. And like I said before, I feel next split can be even better than this one, bringing in these old orgs that have such a historic focus on players and building teams, that we can see so much epicness coming from NA here soon. There's going to be so much scene shaking. It's going to be amazing, guys. And of course, we got to go through Worlds first, and Worlds is looking like it's going to shape up to be one of the best Worlds to watch. Anything can happen. It looks like you might take it. You know, China could come out of nowhere. Korea could come out of nowhere. NA has an actual shot for once. Like, it's getting nuttier and nuttier every moment that I'm living through it. And if Clutch Gaming makes it in, man, I'm gonna be so hyped if they make it past play-ins. And I think they have definitely a good shot to make it past play-ins, and they should definitely make it past play-ins. But I'm not gonna say anything about that, because anytime I'm like, oh yeah, they're out of play-ins, that team somehow manages to astound me and like get destroyed by Astralis Nox. Astralis Nox Luna. Or whatever the hell her name was. Astra Nox Luna? Whatever. You know, people know who I'm talking about. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching these videos. I really hope to see you guys in future videos. Hope to be making more videos soon. And as you can tell, I'm becoming much, much more hyped for League of Legends all over again. I'm falling in love with League, and I hope to be able to keep up a consistent video making process here soon. My podcasts like these might get moved to different days. They might not be consistently on Saturdays anymore, as Saturdays are becoming more and more busy for me. So it might just be that they get moved to whenever I have time, which might end up being Thursdays, could be Fridays, could be Mondays, could be no days. We will see. But thank you so much again for watching, guys. If you like this video, please leave a like, share it with some friends, hit the subscribe button down below, and check me out on Twitch, even though I haven't been on there in like a month and a half. I'll be on there eventually, guys. I promise. I swear. And thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day.